Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Tec-Talk Podcast. I am Luke Dorman, your host. This is day 2 of the Space and Missile Defense Symposium here in Huntsville. Today, I have the pleasure of sitting with the COO of Tec-Masters, Reggie Spivey. Welcome on the show.
All right. Well, thank you. Glad to be a part of it.
Hey, it was a last minute, but we might as well get on here and let you introduce yourself, let you talk a little bit about your background, and give a brief overview of Tec-Masters and what we do, and then we can go on to some more discussions regarding the space and missile defense side of the house and Golden Dome and stuff like that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm Reggie Spivey. Like Luke said, Chief Operating Officer for Tec-Masters. Let's see, my background, 38 years in the business, primarily on the space side, but also some of the DOD side or DOW side as well. And I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, so bachelor's and master's in mechanical engineering from Auburn University, War Eagle. Have to get that in there. I
knew you were going to have to put the War Eagle in there.
Yeah. I have been at Tec-Masters now 2 times, but I started at a little company in Huntsville called Teledyne Brown right out of college, and worked there for about 7 years, and came over to help start up this little company called Tec-Masters in 1994.
Wow.
Yeah. And we were, me and a good friend came over together, and we started the space group, basically building space flight hardware and payloads that were going on the space lab at the time. And let's see, I spent about 15 years at Tec-Masters then. So in the early years when we had like 50 employees still. Yeah, so we had about 250 employees. Some of the heyday of Tec-Masters too. Very good years there in the 90s. And I was still working a lot with Teledyne Brown, and wound up going back there because I was a PM, and it was kind of difficult to work for a different company and be a PM on their contract. And I kind of worked my way up through the ranks there, and was the vice president for Teledyne for about 6 years.
I got you.
And good time there. Mainly over their space group, developing spaceflight hardware, doing what I do, managing the group that did the glove boxes on the space station. Retired from there in January of 2023.
Okay.
Yeah. And did some consulting, just took some time off, and started working with Dr. Carroll again. So I came home, back to Tec-Masters. And in July, I came on as the COO.
Yep.
So July of 2023. And it's been a wild ride since then for Tec-Masters and for me, as we've really been trying to grow this company and get our name out there, and and hey, this is part of that here at the Space and Missile Defense Symposium.
Yeah, it's been an awesome opportunity. This the podcast. I think that it's so important, especially in the Huntsville area, that for companies to get out, make relationships, say hello to people you haven't seen in a while, and like Reggie and Dr. Carroll always say is without the relationship, you're not going to have the work.
That's right. I mean, you do business with the people that you like, and the only way you build those relationships is spend time together. And this is one of the places where we do that. I meet companies here for the first time, and then sometimes I meet companies that I've known about, or people that I've known, and I didn't know some of the things that they did. So typically, Tec-Masters is into so many things that we can fit in most businesses.
Yeah, so I think this is a great opportunity here. If you want to talk about what we do at Tec-Masters,
sure.
We have several different sectors and divisions, and I think if you could talk about that, I think our viewers would love to know more about Tec-Masters.
Sure. Number one, we are a hub zone small business. And a hub zone means that we have at least 35% of our people to meet that requirement that live and work in a hub zone, a designated hub zone. Tec-Masters is a little bit unique in that area in that we've got several contracts that are at Fort Sill in Lawton, Oklahoma. And all of Lawton, Oklahoma is a hub zone. So of our 130 employees, about 85 of those live and work in the hub zone in Lawton. And then our headquarters is on Wind Drive, which is also a hub zone and which is also a requirement. So we are a hub zone small business. Now, typically, hub zones are challenging because if you grow, then you outgrow that quickly. But we're a little bit different because we have all that work that's at Fort Sill. And we've had that work for a long time. So there at Fort Sill, we have basically 5 business units. One of those is Fort Sill. There we do a lot of the training for the Army. We do modeling and simulation work. We do a futures battle lab. We do a virtual sims contract there. A lot of training for the Army there at Fort Sill. Then we also have our space group. Our space group is a hardware development group. We start with requirements from scientists, and we build spaceflight hardware. We do all the verification, all the design, all the build, all the hardware, the software, the electronics, all of that, primarily on our Wind Drive facility there where we have a nice R&D facility. And then we launch it, and we operate it from our facility there. So we have a nice R&D facility where we can do our own testing, our own development. We can do our own electronics work there. We have a vacuum bake up there. We have a CNC machining there, rapid prototyping, and a clean room as well. So, and then we have just expanded that facility. So it's about doubled the size that it was. It's about 12,000 square feet now.
Yeah, I was gonna let you hit on that, and I think this is also a great time. We will be hosting a ribbon cutting here in the next couple months. You want to share the date and the time? We're going to be doing that most likely.
We don't really have a time yet, but it'll probably go most of the day, but it'll be October the 21st.
Okay, October 21st. It'll be a ribbon cutting for our fully expanded R&D lab on Wind Drive over in Huntsville.
Yeah. And that, is a great facility. Like I say, we start with requirements and build full up spaceflight hardware there. So that's one of our business units. A lot of that hardware is for the space station.
Yeah.
We also manage a couple of the facilities on the space station, the Microgravity Science Glove Box and the Life Science Glove Box. And those are 2 of the most used facilities on the space station. So, and Tec-Masters has done that work all the way back to when I was at Tec-Masters the first time. So we are really the most, when it comes to the experience with flight glove boxes, space glove boxes, we are the most experienced company, I believe, in the world in that area. Just won an SBIR that we're going to be announcing here this coming week to do some research work for the commercial glove boxes, commercial space stations. So that's another piece of what we do there. Then we also have another area where we mentor other small businesses. And I don't know if you've had a chance to talk about that on the podcast, but if you're a small business and you're hearing this, we help other small businesses learn how to do business with the government. Yep. And it is a DoD program. It's a funded program. And we have, I believe, the Heisman Trophy for the Mentor Protege program is a non-parry award.
Yep.
And we've won 10 of those. No other small business has won 10 of those. No other business at all. I believe there was another large that had won 9.
I think it was maybe Raytheon or something, but I know we're second on the list.
Yeah. So anyway, we've got a great program, and we've mentored. And really, if you know Dr. Carroll, our owner, that's Dr. Carroll's heart. He wants to mentor other businesses. So we do, I believe, a really good job of that. And we also support the Storm office, and that's where you work out there. Really in weapons acquisition and logistics for the HIMARS and the MLRS. And then we have our AI team. Yeah. And our AI team is the one that came up with the idea for this podcast. And they do a lot of work with developing tools that can be applied in many situations. Also the deployment of AI in a classified environment. Yeah. That's let's see.
I think you nailed it all. That was a good rundown I do have a question. I think our viewers would love to know a little bit more about a box up on the International Space Station that's flying right now. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. For many years, we would build these scientific experiments, and every time we built one of those, we would build a full-up control system, data acquisition system, power distribution system, command and data handling control system, all of that went with it. And these systems would have many controllers for controlling different processes. And you would have to launch that. You'd have to do all this testing and verification and launch that with each payload. So we got Dr. Carroll, whose first name is Marvin. So we know how to get money out of Dr. Carroll. We called it Marvin. We funded it ourselves. We built a control system and power distribution system, data handling system. All of that in a modular, two basic pieces plus a nice microscope that goes with it. So we built that once, and we made it robust enough that it control many processes. So it can control a furnace experiment, or it can control a plant growth experiment. It is that versatile. So we put that piece on orbit, and then we work with the scientists to build just their science piece that can be controlled by that system. So in doing that, it allowed us to really cut the time it takes for us to go from the requirements to a payload on the orbit from 24 months down to 12. So we cut it in half, and we also cut the price, the cost, in half because we don't have to do all that verification anymore. We've already done that, and plus all that the mass, we don't have to launch that every time either. So that's already on orbit. So really improved that payload process.
That's awesome. No, that's an interesting box. Another aspect that we're starting to look at is integrating some AI intelligence onto the Marvin.
Absolutely.
Talk about that IRAD funded and seeing how we're going to manage that.
Absolutely. And some of that will be our IRAD. Some of it will be part of the SBIR. But I don't want to give away all of that. But there will be an announcement coming out about that. But yes, we're going to use the technology we have with AI, and we're going to build that into Marvin so that instead of our scientists have to watch thousands of hours or lots of hours of video to find a certain formation or whatever. The AI can be looking for that as well and help us to actually process that data. So it'll be more on the processing side of things.
I got you. Okay. So I want to talk. We've talked about Tec-Masters. I want to talk about you and your role here at Tec-Masters. You rejoined the team back in 23, and what you brought with you was a level of leadership with expectations of where you want to see the company, a very strategic outlook, and you've kind of set up a good roadmap for us.
Sure.
Could you talk a little bit about your leadership style and where you want to see the company and where we're moving to in the future?
Sure. And basically, Dr. Carroll has been a mentor of mine really my whole career. Even when I was, vice president of a Fortune 500 corporation, I still would have breakfast with Dr. Carroll about once a quarter.
Yep.
So my leadership style is similar to his in that, I believe that you recruit the best in the business, you recruit good people, you treat them well, and you get out of their way. All right. I don't try to micromanage anything. We have to have a management, obviously I have to set the vision for the company. Every organization will take on the character of its leadership. So, I'm a devout Christian, like Dr. Carroll is. And that doesn't mean that I'm perfect, and it doesn't mean that you have to agree with everything that I believe, but it does mean that there's a standard that I hold myself to. And our company holds that same standard. And, for us, when I came in, Dr. Carroll wanted to get the company back into a growth mode, and that's the approach that we've taken. We have invested. We've invested in Marvin, the facility we talked about. We also invested in the AI team. We took that on at our own risk and hired some very talented people and basically took their, let them take their ideas and develop them and get out of their way and give them the infrastructure that they need to be successful. But that's, my leadership style is basically, nobody's going to outwork me. And that's the way the company is. Nobody's going to outwork us. But we work smart. And as I said, we try to treat our people right and give them the freedom to use the talent that they have.
No, I think that's super important. And I concur with everything that you said about empowering others to do the job, get out of the way, and let them go. It's awesome. But I know we got to finish up here shortly. There was one other thing I wanted to talk to you about. Now, of course, it's escaping my mind. Anyways, we'll think of it. We'll discuss it another time. My brain is not working. I've done too many of these today. But anyways, I remembered it. So we're at this conference. If the listeners that are listening to this, what are 2 or 3 things that someone should think when they hear Tec-Masters? And maybe briefly talk about how we are looking for some strategic relationships and partnerships in certain areas.
Sure. Number one, if you think about Tec-Masters, we're a hub zone company with real capabilities. Right, so we're a hub zone company that has real engineering chops. We do systems engineering and many of those things. But we also can do hardcore integration, AI and T, assembly integration and testing.
Okay.
We can build spaceflight hardware. We can do prototyping. We also are, I believe, on the forefront of AI and how that can be used as a tool, how it can be used to help the warfighter, how it can be used to help the scientist, how that tool can be maximized. And even in situations where that's a classified environment, we have to be real careful with how we deploy it. But I believe we're one of the experts in that area. As I said, we are a hub zone small business with real engineering chops, and we can build just about anything in our in the bounds of reason in our shop. It is small. We do onesie twosies. We don't do production work, but we can do really good quick prototyping work, and we can turn that prototype into a real piece of hardware.
Gotcha. All right. Well, you heard it from COO Reggie Spivey himself. We can do a lot of things. Reach out to us if you want to partner with us or just have an initial conversation. We are excited to be here. We will be here on site till tomorrow. But and for anyone that wants to come on the podcast, by the way, the Tec-Talk Podcast is the podcast that Dr. Carroll and Tec-Masters started and invested in. Yep. So it is a corporate podcast. I just sit on it, and there's an amazing team around us that manages all the technical capabilities. But we do interviews once a month from the general community. The last podcast we hosted at our office was Dr. John Blevins, the chief engineer for the Artemis II program. But people like that. So if you have anyone you would like to get on a podcast or recommend us to talk to, please reach out to us and we'll get them scheduled. But with that, any closing remarks, Reggie?
So one thing that I did leave out when you asked me about, one thing about Tec-Masters, the other is our modeling and simulation and training for the warfighter. We've done that for many years. We put a lot into that. I think we have some of those, like our Futures Battle Lab, where we're modeling what the battles of the future might look like. I think we have some of the best people in the business there too. So, we are our company with very diversified and a lot of options, and just very, very pleased to be a part of it and to see it grow.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time. I know it's a busy day, but thank you for joining us, and we're going to get back to work.
All right.
Take care. Thank you.